Did you know that your brain is quietly running an experiment every time you face stress? And that the way it rewires itself in those moments will determine how resilient you become? Now, most people think of resilience as emotional toughness or the ability to just push through, but neuroscience paints a much more interesting picture. I'm Dr. Kalinda Linder, clinical psychologist, and in this video, I'll be explaining how your brain builds resilience, one tiny choice at a time. Now, I'm not a fan of animal studies, but there have been a lot of studies with animals and humans where they've looked at how the brain works when we're stressed. And one common theme is that in all of these experiments, when an animal or a human was exposed to something stressful, and they were split into two groups, one having a lever or a lever that they could press to stop the stress, and the other one not, something very interesting was observed. Same stress, different experience, and completely different brain afterwards. So those who had control developed stronger, more responsive neurons in the prefrontal cortex, this part of the brain here, which is responsible for decision-making, planning, and emotion regulation. And these neurons in the prefrontal learned to communicate more effectively with the amygdala, which is the brain's fight or flight internal alarm system. So the next time that there was a stress faced, that communication pathway kicked in faster. So the prefrontal cortex calmed the amygdala before it could spiral. So how is that relevant to us? Well, even a small sense of control, choosing a response, setting a boundary, reframing a thought, strengthens that same pathway. So every time that you act instead of react, your brain learns, I can influence this. I can recover from this. And that is not just a mindset shift. It's actual neuroplasticity, and it can be measured. Now, another piece of the puzzle has to do with how we handle emotion. So when you name what you're feeling, I'm feeling worried, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling sad, you're doing something really simple with a significant effect. So that simple act of naming lights up the prefrontal, and specifically the left prefrontal cortex, which is actually your happy place. And this then sends the calming signals down to the amygdala in the middle of the brain. And there are various brain imaging studies that have shown that emotion labeling actually reduces amygdala activity within seconds. So when you put words to feelings, you're helping your brain come back into balance immediately. Now, it's such a tiny thing, but over time, those moments of naming and noticing build a bridge between the emotional and the rational parts of your brain. Now, resilience really takes shape when these two processes, awareness and agency, start working together. So awareness helps you notice and name what's happening inside you, and then agency helps you take one small constructive action in response. And each time you do both, what you're doing is you're strengthening the brain's internal communication network, which is really the link between emotion, thoughts, and regulation. And that network is what allows you to stay grounded in the middle of chaos. And because the brain is plastic, it can learn and change. Every repetition makes those circuits more efficient. And over time, resilience becomes less about effort and more about wiring. Your nervous system is learning how to find its way back to calm, and it becomes more and more automatic. So let's get practical. When you're in a stressful moment, try this. Pause and label what you feel, and then take one small action that gives you a sense of direction. Even something as simple as taking a deep breath, stepping outside, or deciding what you'll do next. So this combination, the awareness plus the action, is how your brain learns resilience from the inside out. Because actually, every stressful moment is also a moment of training. Your neurons are learning how to recover, how to regulate, how to reconnect in a helpful way. And with every small, deliberate choice, you're not just getting through it, you're actually rewiring your brain to handle the next challenge with a little more steadiness and a little more grace. So you can think of resilience as more than bouncing back. It's actually being built moment by moment by rewiring forward. If this has been helpful, please like, please share, and join me for more fascinating facts and tips next time.